Aha, recording. Happily, happily. So, the film. I think you should get into actual documentaries and get paid big money maybe. But it's an interesting lifestyle, that whole thing, so. Okay, so I was born. Born! Actually born with agoraphobia, as far as I remember. Still have it. But anyway, my first interest was threaded pipes. I was very excited when my dad took me to a plumbing store. I had been about 5 years old. That was a big interest for me at the time. Lived on Marguerite Street in Vancouver, behind Austin Taylor's mansion, which kind of led my sister and I to exploring the property and looking for snakes and that kind of thing. Snakes, really. Anyway, wow. So they tried to get me into kindergarten. I escaped every time they tried to put me in kindergarten or school. Just walk away. Had no interest in it, and it was very kind of scary for me being an agoraphobic. Okay, so that's one of my first interests. I remember being in San Francisco and getting shocked crossing the Golden Gate Bridge. I went to the zoo, San Francisco Zoo, saw the elephants. Seemed to me they were communicating to me. Maybe it's my imagination. I don't know. But then I remember running towards the ocean and my mother coming after me and grabbing me, picking me up. So that's interesting. As time marched on, my dad moved to North Vancouver, Edgemont Village, 3045 Crescent Drive, North Vancouver, British Columbia. There I got, when I got interested in chemistry, I had a huge actually a very large laboratory. Chemicals, I do everything with chemicals. That interest was for a couple of years. I remember the doctor, Dr. Warner, coming in to see me in the house. That's when doctors made house calls. Let me get the lighting better on this. See, this is better than a biological lab we got here, blah, 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 and he examined me or something, I was sick or something. Then I got interested in firearms, guns. And my dad, all through these things, was very supportive. And he took me to Harkley and Hayward, bought me a Ross rifle, 303, and a double-barrel shotgun, which then led me on to collecting more, and he'd give me money to buy them. So I had a fair collection of these things. And I bought them from Alan Lever Antiques in Vancouver on Dunsmuir Street. I remember buying a Snyder Enfield and a BAR, deactivated Browning automatic rifle, and this kind of stuff. And flare gun. Everything was cheap in those days, so that was my high interest. I would restore them and rebuild them. My dad had a very massive, complete library, so I could look at anything up with the encyclopedia and books on everything, because he's branch manager for Collier's Encyclopedia of Western Canada. And I think the USA too. He was offered to go to start in New York and that. He had a band. Ken Hutchison and his band across Canada a long time ago. But he was a businessman, and as time marched on, holy mackerel. So there were some things. My first interview with news media was when I put up not hair, but hydrogen balloons in the air. And people thought it was a UFO invasion in Vancouver, and next thing I knew, the press showed up. Newspapers and that kind of thing, and CBC. God, I'd love to see that tape. CBC archives, I guess it would be. They took me out for lunch, and I thought I was a big shot, big hero. Blah, 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 blah. On television, to watch myself on TV too. My sister and I went to Channel 8 dance party. As I'm progressing through into my teens now. Channel 8 dance party. And we go back and watch ourselves on television on Saturday, or I think it was Saturday. Ha! So always had a high interest in a lot of things and studying all the time. Instead, like Google, the encyclopedia, I'd pick a letter and go through it like reading a book. I always worshipped the sun, so I'd be on the lawn cart reading encyclopedias in the sun. My first I fell in love with Shirley Temple Black. Wrote her a letter and she wrote back. So I was getting into sexuality at a very young age. Okay, so other interests progressed. I'm kind of skipping ahead over a lot of stuff because it takes a while to do this, but I hate typing, by the way, so I only still would use one finger. As time progressed on, I was going to all the scrapyards and gun stores and that kind of thing, you know. Oh wow. I'm skipping over a lot of stuff, but anyways, that's kind of basically what I was progressing. I always had a high-powered interest. Like that. Um, yeah, I was just thinking of something with my sister and I, and that. There was a lot of high-profile types in North Vancouver. There was next door was Dr. Webb, a medical doctor, and like they get together with my parents and drink booze and get drunk. Then, then on kind of Mr. Watt. He was an Army officer, Navy, and wanted me to join the Navy and all this stuff, and he proof tested my rifles in the backyard. In those days, people weren't paranoid like they are now. Yeah, it is. So, my parents thought it was a good idea for me to go to Riverview Hospital for Essendale. That's where I learned a lot about life there. I was put on in there on an adult basis in the Crease Clinic, A4 West, yeah, Crease Clinic. Then graduated to West Lawn Building, A2 and A1. I had a gun collection there, believe it or not, plus radio collection or electronic collection. Stacked next to my bed, literally, and the guns were underneath the bed, and the doctors didn't seem to be too bothered. Dr. Slichter, one of my doctors, came down to A1 ward and wanted to, because a patient said he saw me with guns or something, and he said, yeah, they're under my bed, and I pulled them out, and he was holding them and turning. I always remember him turning the cylinder on a revolver I had. He said, I think we should put them in the dispensary so that patients don't get upset when they see them. I said, oh, that's fine with me. And I don't want them stolen. So as time progressed there, I had girlfriends there, I had all kinds of adventures in Riverview. I learned a lot about humans, that's for sure. They tried to get me to, because I have agoraphobia, maybe I tried shock treatment to get rid of it. No, it didn't work. And they went on with other things and medications and stuff. Then they decided and found a practitioner in England who came over and taught me to simply do relaxation exercises and picture in my mind what bothers me. And tensing up like this, it just kind of feels uncomfortable. Then relax and you feel good. Do that same with the mental imagery of open spaces. So I haven't got a fear of people, no. It's just open spaces, direct opposite of claustrophobia, okay? That was interesting. And then the doctor said if you ever get bored, let us know and then we can write your discharge papers. So one day I was bored and I wrote up the discharge paper, gave me $20. My dad picked up most of the guns and radio gear. and put it in at home because I was striking out on my own. So I wound up on Skid Row, which I wanted to do because a friend invited me there. A patient of Riverview, by the way. Roy Sharple was the name, so I spent a couple of weeks downtown Vancouver, 5 West Hastings Street. I enjoyed it. I got around, I met people. I saw how the poor folks, lived. In the meantime, I was looking for a room in North Vancouver. And I had the newspapers, and one was like for $35 per month in Lynn Valley. And I phoned up the person. Said, yeah, it's available. I just come on over and we'll see what happens. So I took a blacktop cab along with my possessions and a pistol I had because I was in the downtown area. And I thought it'd be a good idea if I was going to take a bath in the Drexel Rooms, it was called. I carried the pistol there, and I made the bullets into just blanks, a 45 caliber. I took the bullet out and put a whiting in it. I'm not into killing anything. So anyway, I had to kick a door in there, retrieve something I had. Also had a lot of fun with a man who liked, well, let's say he likes my body, and he wanted to do a lot of fun things, and I enjoyed it fully. And no complaints, no guilt, nothing. I seem to go one way or the other, don't I? Yeah, he would entice me to lay down, and guess what? Well, you can use your imagination, so I visited him frequently. So anyway, back to moving to Lynn Valley. That was interesting. Mrs. Murphy and the family accepted me right away, and I moved in and brought the radio gear over to the room, and that whole room over time filled up with, I don't know how many guns, many, and radio gear and electronic stuff. I took a while to fill up. I mean, Browning automatic rifles, 50 caliber Browning machine guns were only like $25, $35, and prices went up to 100 and then 200 and on over time. So I had a massive machine gun collection. Most of them were deactivated. I don't care if they work or not. But in those days, you could just simply register, and it wasn't a problem. Oh my goodness. So on I went with this kind of thing for quite a while. Then in '78, Trudeau passed gun laws, and the RCMP raided me, and that's when all the press stuff came out. And I hit the press, and they filmed and wrote stories, kept tabs on me all the time. And also, I won my cases with R. Flynn Marr, who's going to visit me, by the way. We're going to talk about all the adventures we had together with this case. Judge Cronin was the judge in my case, and he got really mad and angry at the RCMP and all the people that tried to frame me up. So, court orders, firearms returned to gun collector, me, John Hutchison. So that went on for a while. And then I got into, again, more into vintage stuff, and I started to wander in the area of Nikola Tesla. And I got all the books I could on him. And I started actually building his stuff, and built it just like the standards of the time. So, that I did do. Excuse me a moment, let me get my coat. It's kind of cool here. Where did I put it? Over here. So, anyway, let me just get this thing on. Don't disturb the wires down here. Anyway, luckily books were available. Whoops. What was that? I don't know. Something fell. Not sure what it is, but whatever. I don't know. think it was a dustpan. Anyway, I did get a lot of information. This is interesting. From Tesla's friend, Thomas Lee Richardson, who had a house full of Tesla artifacts and documents and papers. A witness to that would be Stan Regic. Where's my coat? Oh, it's confusing. Okay. Stan Regic, Mr. Turner, Steve Turner, and others. So Thomas Lee gave me lots of information. There was other Tesla people that seemed to understand. Oh, this thing is always difficult to get on. Gee, well, look at this stupid coat. And gave me books. I studied those books. Colorado Spring Notes, Tesla's autobiography books, other books that Thomas lended me for papers and drawings of things. Oh, this is crazy, this coat. Just a minute, I'm gonna check on something here. Ugh. So anyway, there was schematic of some of Tesla's things. I don't see them in public yet. But Thomas published a book on Tesla. It's on Amazon, I think, in the Vancouver Public Library. Plus he struck medallions. I got those and actually took photos of that stuff. So Thomas Lee Richardson. The other person that came into my life was Mel Ernest Winfield, who actually, if it wasn't for Mel, I probably wouldn't even progressed along. But Mel, I was with Billy Ross, downtown Vancouver on Davie Street. Went to the Aquarian Universalology Institute, where Mel Winfield ran it, and sat and listened to Mel and that kind of thing. So remember Mel Winfield's very important. So he talked and asked me, what do I do? I said, I'm just working on building Tesla machinery. And I mentioned some of the weird stuff like light bulbs lighting up by themselves and metal flying around and that kind of thing. And that caught his attention, these odd effects. And he said, well, I want to give you something, a Van de Graaff generator, which is damaged, so I restored it. That was about 1980 now, we're in the 80s. But anyway, I found it useful instead of my other thing, static generator. Mel came over, wanted to see it, everything, and progressed to take pictures. I didn't have a movie camera, just he took photographs of things flying through the air and caught some of them luckily. And, you know, I thought, so what? You know, what's what's this all about? Anyway, so my parents went on vacation, and I was with Bill Ross. Geez, a long time ago. Holy mackerel. And all of a sudden, I get a phone call at my parents' home, and Mel wanted to come over. I said, oh, okay. And he brought Alex Pizarro, and Alex Pizarro talked and interviewed me for at least a couple hours, and they both went away. And I said, well, I'm here, you know, working here, but you're welcome to come over to Lynn Valley. And they did, and then the word spread out what I was doing. You know, I thought, oh, these people are crazy. And the metal samples, literally, I took and threw in the trash. So Alex Pizarro will go out in the garbage and pull out all these metal samples. Because they're no use to me, they're all damaged. This is very true. Luckily, he might have told George Hathaway the whole story. So along comes George Hathaway from Toronto, Canada, and he's seeing what I was doing, and he brought Felipe Galuppi and secretary, and they had a film session. So George filmed some stuff that exploded metal pieces and stuff floating in the air. And then that led into George working with other people on this, as well as Mel Winfield started to say this is his technology and all this stuff, and that upset Hathaway and Alex Bizzarro to the point where they told him never bother to come around again. Okay? So there was people showing up, University of British Columbia, from SAIC, from San Diego Group. This all led into me actually moving from Lynn Valley to a storage area, and it took them, I think, a week to move me. That's how much stuff I had, and set up for the U.S. government people, and Los Alamos and Navy labs and all that stuff. We did that, and that lasted several months. My mother passed away during that time from alcoholism. So I set up 3744 East Hastings Street. And the activity there was the amount of people that came and come and go with film stuff. Pay me $100 for a demonstration. They loved it. Take metal samples. Even Thomas Lee Richardson showed up there and sat around looking at things. He said it kind of reminds me of his Nibs. Good old Thomas. Anyway, that's where about 4 or 5 TV shows took place there, news media stuff, and groups of scientists over quite a long time. Oh. Yeah, I mean, a lot of activity. That's where McDonnell Douglas filmed. Jack Houck and McDonnell Douglas over report. The video's online. It's called the Vancouver Experiment. Who else showed up? Contractors for the U.S. Army. Because a friend of mine, Brian Borodale, drove limo from the Vancouver airport to the downtown Vancouver, and always talk about me and bring some of the contractors over, and they start filming. I think George and Alex Bizzarro would come quite often. Not Mel Winfield though, but lots of people came and went. That's where a lot of the really heavy dynamic. There was many tons of electrical machinery in there, and I was driven at the time for substation transformers. I wish I could get some here. Well, I got small ones, but maybe I got lucky and get a big fat fellow. But so my interests would go kind of in circles, like, okay, levitation stuff, Tesla stuff, radio stuff. Then I go into machine tools, and then go into firearms. Then return to the radio stuff or electronic stuff or high voltage stuff. So a lot happened there. Then things got dicey and had to move. Something was going to happen, or the next door neighbor wanted me out of there and all that because his stuff was getting smashed up through these crazy experiments. So I was at Satellite Electronics on Main Street, and I met George Lissa Case and Alexander Sarashevsky. And we decided to have a partnership, and I moved into their building on Kingsway, 13th and Kingsway. We set everything up, all the heavy stuff. It was all taken from 3744 Hastings to 13th and Kingsway. I don't know the exact address of the building, but a lot of stuff happened there over time. Okay? A lot of stuff. Had nails floating through the wall, objects moving around, objects falling apart, objects just floating around kind of thing, and the whole building vanished, according to people. Documented by insurance agency. Now, I'm still in contact with Alexander Sharashevsky, but George, that's the case is long, he passed away. He formed Pinnacle Oil International. Oh, wow, a long story. So a lot of metal samples from there, a lot of heavy voltage stuff. Here's actually a video of me talking in there and doing experiments. You can see it on Nancy Lazzie or on Hutchison's video. I videotaped it. It's black and white film, very bad, but I did it. And prior to this, I got an invitation from Dr. Peter Kokoshnik and Dr. Margarita Kokoshnik, who were my girlfriend at the time, Yin Gaza. Her great granddad made the Oerlikon cannons in Rhode Island. Okay, so where am I going here? So on the eve, kind of almost on the eve, then I'm going to Germany, but there's a big dispute between all three of us, and Yin was there when George and Alex showed up at the building and screaming and yelling and cursing us, threatening us. That's where the BC Supreme Court came into play. The judge basically ordered that all of us should work together and allow me into the building. But anyways, off to Germany, though. A very interesting, invigorating experience. I've never been to foreign countries, so I spent 2 years there, over 2 years, with Dr. Peter Kokoshnik, Yin Gaza, and meeting scientists all the time. In the meantime, the German folks were analyzing samples at Max Planck Institute, Berlin laboratories, other places all over Germany, written up in Esquire magazine, 4-page article. And there's other articles and videos and interviews and that kind of thing. And I did acquire a gun collection over there. So when I left to go back to Canada, I had to go through the German police who okayed everything. Then the ATF in Atlanta, Georgia okayed everything, and then the RCMP okayed everything. Oh dear, so the lab was to be shipped to Germany, but the shipping container was sabotaged. And the stuff, let's see, All Cargo Express in Canada. There's a lot of weird stuff going on. So the container was paid for by German folks. And shipping was all done, but the container somehow was sabotaged and it fell apart or something. That's what I heard. And there was lawyers involved that would be faxing over to Germany. Stuff going on with Alec and George. George was trying to do the levitation himself, but got almost killed because a 1,500-pound transformer fell on him and put him in the hospital for Oh, 3 months. Okay. But I retained my friendship with Alexander Sharashevsky to this day. We write each other quite often. He's going to come visit here sometime. We're going to have a great fun day remembering all the fun stuff. But anyway, so when I got back to Canada, found out that the laboratory was put in storage. See, you can see the newspaper article I sent you on that and the BC Supreme Court orders. I sent you pictures of that stuff. And, yeah, wow. It was all delivered to my sister's garage, along with crates of guns. I mean, it packed the whole place full up to the ceiling. What was taken was transformers and capacitors that had PCBs in them. So really, there was no raid, as people think there was. Raided at gunpoint? Come on! I get along with everybody just fine. You know, where do these people get these crazy ideas from? Raided at gunpoint? Ugh. How many raids did they claim it was the U.S. government or the Canadian government? What the hell are they talking about? Where do they get these ideas from? These same little ideas with this flying saucer with strings on it. That's a big one, you know, there's idiots out there. It's got a wire to it. 30,000 volts DC to a plastic, foam, metallic flying saucer. So what? Can I do T. Townsend Brown stuff or lifters? But anyway, I should get back to the time scale here. So, anyway, I was going to return to Germany. I did something extremely foolish. I scrapped everything and sold everything. Triple B auctions. Bought the guns, or for auction, all the guns. That's so stupid of me. Plus, I took apart all this good equipment. What kind of headspace was I in? I was invited to live in Belzig, Germany. I was all ready to go. Then Yin shows up, my girlfriend, and other things transpired, and that's when we got the apartment together. Then she went to Germany and doing films, and Austria doing films. Miracle of the Unknown, Above Top Secret. And I went over in 1993 to stay with her for a month or two, then returned back to Canada. And I went to Japan, invited by Japan for a month or 2 months, where I gave lectures and also the metal samples I carried around, plus Mr. Yomabi, my host, built a laboratory to do things I do in Hiroshima City. All this is all documented by Mr. Hino of JOGM TV, Hiroshima Home TV, who filmed us all the time, filmed the labs, filmed the samples, and other Japanese film people. So our thing was going to different towns and prefectures and doing talks. Well, Yin and I were on the road quite a bit, but mostly flying, small aircraft flying to this location. We were guests of honor at the Tsukyo Makakari Temple of 40,000 people. They had an honor guard lining the streets for us. Like, what? Because I don't know, you know, it's just like we're not told anything. I got pictures of it all standing outside the temple. Not all the 40,000 folks, but the main directors. I sent you a picture of that, I hope. A lot of photographs were taken and shared. They also read a book on me. I still don't even know what it says. I still have the book. A very friendly people. I fully enjoyed their company. Wow. Then a year after that, I went with Dr. Brian O'Leary. We did a lecture tour together. Kind of same, kind of friendly people and happy. And then, 94, I started to work with the Artificial Reef Society of British Columbia, Canada. I have a great interest in artillery cannons and Navy stuff, Navy electronics, and warships. So I worked on 4 warships. One of them is used in 2 X-Files stories, Dodcom and Endgame. And in filming, I had to be quiet. So I tiptoed around the superstructure and climbed the superstructure. Okay. So all of that with ships ended in about 2000. That's West Roots and his group had to move somewhere else from the new Westminster docks. And West Roots wanted me to come be with him as a consultant on how to take apart artillery and electronics. I declined, and also I declined a lot of people that offered me large amounts of money to do things, but no. No, no, no. There's always strings attached. You gotta do this or work here and this. And what kind of lifestyle? No, 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 no. I don't like Charles Bombardier. I sent you some info on that one. He and Kevin Albar, a filmmaker, wanted me to work in, I think, Valcourt, Quebec, in the old mansion of Charles Bombardier's place. Charles and I were good friends. But no, we're good friends, okay. The same as Prince Hans Adam Liechtenstein wanted me to go to Toronto and work. No, I have greatest respect for all these people. And George Hathaway is priceless, but it'd take me out of my weird realm I live in, which is scrap yards and surplus stores and being on my own. Do whatever the hell I want to. And my dad, I mentioned, that was very supportive. And a lot of others were too. Some of them just want to make power cells. Well, I made probably over $1 million just doing those things. For the Japanese, for our friend in Germany who's going to visit here someday as well. A famous German company that they have. I spent a lot of time with Thomas in LA, up in Canada. We'd come, he'd give me several $100,000 to make more power cells. I made them for him. My first power cell making was for Reatrade Group of Canada. Carl David Anderson. 20,000, 30,000. I never asked for it. They just offer it. Said I can't guarantee anything, but so far it all worked out. As you see in the video, that CBC did on the power cells, so it's just Nancy's YouTube channel again. So I had Grant Romund from Hollywood, friends with Bill Shatner and other actors and that. He did an excellent presentation on the power cells in video. It's on the internet. So well, these people are amazing. The Japanese that come and show up at 11 in the morning and talk to me for a bit, take the products I made from the power cells and go back to Hiroshima. I have U.S. congressmen showing up, like Dennis Kucinich and Berkeley Bedell and some other characters. TV shows like The Apprentice. I filled out all the forms. I got all these weird letters from you-know-who about real estate. Oh, but I turned that show down, and I'm not into that world. So declined. They even paid for my plane tour. I got all that information on pictures and emails and all that stuff. And then I had to go to New York to be on Diane Aykroyd's show. Somewhere out there. Not that one, no. Yeah, Dan Aykroyd. But the show was canceled. Dan's show was canceled, and, I sent ahead. This is after 9/11. I sent ahead my metal samples and clothing and everything else. I didn't have to go through hassles. But luckily, they returned it. All that stuff. I was lucky I didn't lose it, but anyway. And Dennis Kucinich got a bunch of my metal samples somewhere. Oh, I match up with scientists over the years like Ken Shoulders and Thomas Bearden, Dr. Ludwig, and many dozens of others. Dr. Rauscher, Dr. Elizabeth Ann Rauscher stayed with us a month in Oregon. So it was like, all these friendly people, and we got along just fine. I miss them because a lot of them passed away, like Henry Dakin of the Noetic Institute in San Francisco, 3220 Sacramento Street. I used to stay at Henry's place too. That's where I met Prince Alfred von Liechtenstein. He was a very interesting person to meet up with, and other people. It's just a NASA person, on and on. But no complaints. I found these people very interesting and fascinating to talk to and get along with. We had a lot of fun together over the years, and many people. So these days, there's Bob, who's outcoming scientist, Martin Fleischmann, Memorial Project. He's done a lot of work with metal samples of mine. I don't think anybody else. Oh, Jack Safrati and his friends with Ian Gazda and his group, but they're all very theoretical physicists. I got a lot of emails. I respond to them. A new doctor owns a company around the world. I'm in email contact with him. And others. And a lot of email contact, but very different times. A lot of young scientists doing this thing. Like yourself. Which is quite interesting to me because it's real. So what you do is real. A lot of others seem to get sucked into the scammers. Like John Searle and that guy with his gravitator thing. I don't say anything, no. Paul Pantone and other characters. I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna say anything about it. You're a real one. I know that. I recognize that. I recognize when somebody's real or fake. I've got a number of real cool people, young generation, doing really interesting stuff. So, I'm not a scientist. I'm not even an inventor. I just like working with old stuff. However, a long time ago, I kind of got like, here's John, throw him out the door, meet all these different people who were scientists or inventors. And I got along with them fine. I mean, no problem. I did kick one guy out of my place. He thought he was pretty cool. He was with IBM. And then, always remember this one, from the University of British Columbia, a professor showed up because Alec Pizarro asked him to come around and look at something. At that time, I was at 3744 East Hastings, mid 80s or late 80s, or whatever it was, and I had these radio receiver listening to the space shuttle. That's fascinating. And the professor comes in and he says, "No, you don't start doing anything like that. It'll burn your eyes out and get sick." He just walks out the door. Alec Pizarro started laughing his head off. Oh, well, no. Covering a lot of territory. I wonder how long I've been talking for. But anyway, so, agoraphobia and all that stuff. Still have a bit of it, but let's see what time it is. Oh, it is 49, 45. Oh, well, I'm doing okay. iPad hasn't blown up yet. What's that? Oh, that's that thing. So anyway, as far as me dressing like this, I enjoy it. I feel comfortable, like being kind of sexy feeling for myself. And I tend to get along with men and women talking or smile. So I'll say no, but anyway. I took a transgender test. I came to a high number, and it says possible transgender. Got to be truthful when taking tests. I believe in that, being truthful as much as you can. So, why not? Truthful, honest, as well as other things, because you don't want to be negative. You want to be positive. So I learned a lot at Riverview. I met psychopathic killers and talked to him. Ron Matilla. Until he started acting funny, and they sent him back to Colony Farm. I was apprenticed with David Steele, a TV repairman at the time, and I'd follow him around and learn from him and do simple operations on things. Good old signal tracers. Oh, that brought back some cool memories of old radio stuff. Also, as a DJ at Riverview, 6,000 people there. I love doing that. Being a DJ is fun. I play the music, make announcements. One song they didn't like, they're coming to take me away, and they come into the studio and said, "No, you shouldn't be." Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, jumping back to 1986, Expo 86, I was presenter of the levitation stuff at BC Place Stadium. Mostly just sparks and a lot of noise, and it was arranged by a friend of mine through the government, I guess. So that was about a week long. I still got some of the info on that. It's filmed. The guy's name was Art, and he had connections. So Billy Ross, the fellow I was dating at the time, 1982, 85, I guess. And then I met Ian, and that turned everything around. Fell deeply in love. Oh yeah, I was, okay, so that was BC Place Stadium, the Psychic Fair was called. I fell in love with a lady in Arizona, and we got married. Helena Kasiki. But she got so controlling over time. It was pretty severe. So I just got a taxi to PHX, I think it's PHX Airport, and took off back to Vancouver. Lab was still intact. So actually, a girlfriend of mine was looking after it for me and paying the rent every month. So anyway, that ended, and then I met Nancy in 2009. I left and stayed a year, and then returned to Canada. And she was to come and stay with me, and she did, and we a lot of activities happened. Like I sold a section of the lab to Germany that wanted to do levitation stuff. They paid me only 50,000 for it, and it shipped off. 9 tons were shipped off out of 24 tons, which is then shipped to Minnesota. As Nancy and I went on an epic journey to work on eliminating the oil in the Gulf of Mexico, which worked. I was there for a number of months, and then Fukushima came along, and we did working on that too, to right now. But anyway, it was all documented by scientists. I uploaded all the documents to SlideShare, John K. Hutchison. A lot of stuff I uploaded. The before and after tests under controlled conditions. The oil was eliminated. The Navy Department showed up, John Shelburne, to look this over and take samples, and also Bob Neiman in Alabama was doing test after test, before and after test, along with Steve Coburn, a scientist. He was doing before and after tests on uranium ore and oil samples. I'm still in contact with Steve Coburn. Jumping way back again to the apartment lab, hosted a lot of television people. Beyond Invention, Griffin Film Productions, History Channel, Fox TV with Jonathan Frakes of Star Trek. I estimate over all time with demonstrations to television folks, at least 300 or over that. And I have behind me a row of videos covering 25 feet. I don't know if you see them or not up there, but they're on the far wall. A lot of stuff has not ever been uploaded. The documents, 10,000 documents, not uploaded. And what you see on the internet is just a tiny portion of what I've done in regards to interviews and that kind of thing. What am I looking at here? Oh, okay, yeah. So, and stuff I've done too. Filming effects and metal blocks falling apart, scissors exploding. Ooh, I'm filming other people filming me, and you see the government guys talking to me. I had a camera mounted on the wall that filmed stuff that was going on, and you can hear them talking. Oh, but the levitation happened over there. Put it over there, kind of thing. So, controlled experiment. I sent you a link to the video. It's kind of crappy video, but right back in a minute. Hang on there. Wow, it's getting interesting talking. So, back I smoke quite a bit. I take vitamins since 1990. Mega vitamins all that time. I'm into anti-aging research. So I do practice, but this is not, I don't know. It doesn't hurt me. I'm doing this ever since I was a kid. So when somebody posts a video, oh, it's all strings. Simply scientists with big egos that are really pissed off that I can do something, I suppose. That's what I think psychologically is going on. A lot of these characters have big egos and really get pissed off when they see me, a little nut like me, doing all that stuff. verified. So they make up these funny little stories. Like yesterday, Jackson Friday and his gang was plastered with emails. But they're all theoretical physicists. So I send them links to the video, they'll comment. Oh, no, can't be true. That's kind of funny. So I had a number of, I guess you call them internet trolls or whatever you call them, like that Mr. Smith, I presume, character. He was very careful in presenting that because I could have slammed him hard, but it doesn't matter. Fools are, fools are fools, and trolls are trolls. He's a bombastic, silly little Englishman. Thinks he knows everything, he doesn't. Even Bob wrote a response to him. Two others too. It's just, you just get these assholes. What can I say? Had a good partner by emails and phone calls. Lloyd Bush and Lockheed Martin. He's a real gem. He knows his stuff. He appeared with another friend of mine, Nick Cook of Jane's Defense Weekly, on The $1 Billion Secret. I got so many friends, I guess. And, oh yeah, of course, the apartment during fun time was, "Who are you?" Lady visitors and many of them, and other visitors and many of them as well, being hypersexual. Wink, wink. No complaints on that. I enjoy it. What the hell? You get all these other crazy people in. They're not that interested, I suppose, in fantasies and sex and playing around. But I love it. Kind of visualize myself at 105 or 110. Gray hair shaking around. Never mind. Jeez. Oh, harder. Come on, baby. So, like that. Trying to flap some other crazy things. I sent you a picture of the card I got from the White House. I thought it was a joke when I opened the mailbox. There was a brown envelope and then a white envelope from Bill and Hillary. It's out of the blue, addressed to me in Canada. I don't know. Maybe they saw something on TV or something. I don't know. But I do get a lot of emails because the shows keep airing on Discovery Channel, Science Channel, and History, and Fox TV, and all that stuff. But I guess you call it fan mail. It's just never. Sometimes I'll go after a show airs. I walk outside and just go to the corner store and asked to sign autographs. Oh well. And then my landlord's son told me not to turn away around 30 people every month, with 20 to 30, 15, 10, depending on the month. I said, that's good. Thank you. And oh well. Maybe I should change my outfit to wearing a crown, jewels, and acting like a snobbish royalty person. Oh yeah, I know the Rockefellers. Yep, a friend who is a friend of the Rockefeller family, Stephen Rockefeller, and he's a good friend though. He's not. I never met the Rockefeller, but Stephen. But my friend Woody is good friends with him. They went to school together. I like Woody, actually, really. He's got interest. He comes visiting for a week. We go and haunt the surplus stores and hobby shops. People are so amazing, actually, in their interest and friendliness. So, I mean, it's really nutty. Some things are nutty, like I'm visit Wesley Military Surplus Store in New Westminster on Front Street. And Willie Picton was a big deal going on then, along with Adrian Elliott Stone, who's a rip-off artist, who's wanted by the police. It's $5,000 reward for his whereabouts. He was my webmaster, the stupid idiot. Still a website, still running. HutchinsonEffect.ca. And he was friends with Willie Picton. So I'm sitting on the ammo cans talking to Colleen when Wes is away. We just like talking, and the RCMP come and interview Colleen about Piggy's Palace. They're talking away, and I'm thinking to myself, shouldn't this be private? It's like I didn't even exist. But he got what came to him, that crazy psychopath anyway. And good old Willie and his brother. For some reason they were friends with Colleen and Wes Baker. Until I found out, because the press would come around to the store and Colleen would open the side door and throw out a shoe or a boot or something to the press. I was thinking, oh dear, I know nothing, really. Jeez. It's getting a little dicey here, but I just, I'll go check out some more Wes's treasures and junk he collects and gives me all the time, radio gear and other things. Wesley Baker, but he got arrested by the RCMP for converting model guns into real guns. It's a big no-no. Come on, Wes, you shouldn't have ever done that stupid shit. Come on, be good. So, yeah, Adrian, I don't like so, but anyway. I've always been a clown who jokes around. I got dressed up as an old man walking down Edgemont Village and the RCMP stopped me. You're causing a bit of a problem with people. So, sorry. That sounds Billy and I check the power levels on this thing. I don't want it to flake off. Oh, I don't know. But anyway, it'd be a bummer if it shut off and then lose the video I'm doing. Doing a lot of talking, that's for sure. But I get along with all animals just fine. Hang out with the bears at the landfill site in Linmore Village. Bears, crows, raccoons. Around here, it's mostly ravens, and we get along fine. I'm sitting out in the sun. They're talking to me, I'm talking back to them, so. And every day they get fed. Then I have a little doggy. His name is EVO, named after Ken Shoulder's discovery. Ken and I were pretty close, and I had a lot of close scientist friends that sort of passed away. Even Gordon Novell, who formed a group together to build flying saucers, and huge, massive amount of information. Look up Gordon Novell, Novel. He's got quite a history to him, but he passed away in 2010 after he and I were talking and something. Paul Mueller is an inventor back in Chicago. He's a good friend too. He's a scientist worth looking into. Oh, there's many others I met also. In Greece, Dr. P.T. Pappas was studying my work and invited me to Greece, but he showed up at my place with his wife, and he was going to write up a science report. That's Dr. P.G. Pappas. I believe he's still alive. I have another good friend in Greece, Mr. Alec, who sold me stuff fraction of price on eBay, and he invited me over there to check out a scrapyard. That's the place I want to go. I bought maybe 2,000 pounds of stuff from Mr. Alec over the last couple of years. Recently, some months ago, the piece came for the lab here. So, yeah. Ken Shoulders comes stay a week in New West in a hotel. We go out every day to talk and that. Oh, yeah, it's kind of cool. I'd love to see George Hathaway again, but he was at Bob Greener's place in the United Kingdom? Yeah. No, Bob Greener went to visit George Hathaway. We talked about my samples and stuff. He's very close friends to Prince Hans Adam Liechtenstein, okay, as well as Colonel John Alexander, another scientist I know very well, who's a brilliant scientist and very friendly person. So, yeah, Pappas showed up. Where was I? Getting all tangled up in my own ramblings, I suppose, but Professor of Mathematics and Physics, University of Athens, Dr. Pappas. Dr. Ludwig, German scientist, filmed for 14 days. He stayed a month. Maybe, I think, with Jean Manning or somebody. She's like a sister to me, Jean Manning. Look her up. But, yeah, he filmed every day in high definition. And some of it's on Nancy's website, YouTube channel. And he got a lot of effects on film. Let's see who else showed up. So many people showed up. I'm trying to remember the names. History Channel. When I was with Helena in Scottsdale, Japanese media showed up. They bought $40,000 of footage from Peter von Puttkammer. Peter sells my footage for $150 per second. He sold a bunch to NBC and other companies. They can afford it. A lot of the shows I haven't seen, but I got the documents on the sales of the footage. A Japanese show, 3 producers showed up, then bought footage and film. There's Paul Stabakowski for Discovery Channel International. We're still good friends. I'm still friends with some of the film producers, by the way. Robert Kiviat of Fox TV. Oh, many other ones. Lots. I like being positive and friendly with people, and they're friendly back, and we get on fine. No big deal. So it's enjoyable to be positive towards each other. I'm trying to remember if I ever had any cranky people. Yeah, that IBM guy got kicked him out. But most of the cranky people are just internet people. They can't function in real life till they hang in and live in Facebook or other stupid places. But I get a lot of marriage proposals online, on Messenger. Men and women. I don't say anything negative that doesn't upset me. I say, oh, thank you, sweetie, and leave hearts, Because you're never going to see them. Some of them can't function in real life, so I say, oh, yeah. You want to see me in my skirt? Yes, sure, I would be happy to. Wink, wink. I don't mind. Come on. I'm not religious, by the way. Nope, I'm not religious. I understand the principles of how something small can create a massive event. You got some words that were said a long time ago, and that led into more things, and buildings and churches and stuff, and religion, and written in the text, and all this silly stuff. What I understand, we came from the sun, actually. Sun ejected stuff, formed a planet. The Fermi levels dropped as it cooled off. A touch of water or something happened. Lightning. Little organisms formed. And with a great amount of time, animals and fish formed. And then over a great amount of time, primitive humans showed up. Basically, we're all stardust, in my opinion. And as far as UAPs, UFOs, I doubt it. Wishful thinking and just misinformation. Because the fact that the universe is so vast, and to the nearest star it's 4 light years, and I don't know if they even have hyperdrive. A lot of theoretical physicists think there is, and it could be. But radio, again, listening to on the hydrogen line for any signals is fascinating as well. I listen on radio and find a lot of interesting things that were actually echoes of something else years ago. But dozens of other things. That's why I'm great interest in radio listening, mostly to static. I use radio from extremely low frequency to super HF for when I'm working on things in voltage, because there's signals, everything's signals off. A spark or some other thing. So it tells me, and I visualize it and see it, and I gotta do this and do that, so. Plus I have an interest in receivers and transmitters and all the best stuff that's ever made. I have no interest in plastic stuff. So, I don't like AR-15 rifles. To me, this is junk. If I had one, I'd cut it in half and throw it in the garbage. No plastic or aluminum. It's got to be heavy steel. So, that's the way I am, I guess. And machine tools, the same way. No plastic or aluminum. I can tolerate it, but it's hard to. But rarely I have anything that's plastic or aluminum. Why Navy stuff? Because it's the best made stuff in the world. Not aircraft stuff. No interest in it. Although I do have a few cool aircraft B-52 radar systems. Free energy devices, barium titanate cylinders. Can't find them anymore. I have a friend in Germany who makes cylinders, by the way, with different formulations. Dr. Marcus Reed, actually in Munich. A very brilliant gentleman. And that was a couple of years ago. I got those cylinders. I put them on eBay and sold them. Because I always need money for stuff. So I'm right now buying up 3 massive Collin transmitters and receivers and power supply. I already paid for one. It should be here sometime. From a friend back east who's no names. This guy's very private. Young fellow, I believe. It's basically like I am. I give him information how to mount so many different things, you know. He's a collector. He's always working on things. So it's kind of like my brother, actually. I never met him. but we communicate on through eBay like dozens of emails sometimes in a week or more. We have the same interest, and he likes what I do, and he may be doing what I'm doing too. But I'm not. I respect people's privacy. He doesn't want to be known, and he shows me pictures of stuff that just like what I'm doing. So that's that. I'm not even going to share those pictures. I respect what he wanted. Okay. What else can I talk about here? So we went through babyhood. Kinda. I used to grind my own gunpowder in my parents' house and use a furnace room to dry it out. I mix it in water so it's well saturated. I got up to triple F or 4F powder. So I grind it all up and add water and grinding it and let it dry out in the furnace room. Then take the whole cake out and break it up outside and grind it again. I also made trinitroglycerine. It's simple. I used my mother's refrigerator for coolness. Thank God it didn't blow up. Holy mackerel, I wouldn't be around her. Nah. A friend of mine, Danny Larizza, in North Van, blew himself up with potassium chlorate and sugar. He used to make pipe bombs that blow up telephone poles. I didn't participate in that. No, not little Johnny. During the Halloween riot, of course, I threw eggs, but then the RCMP had a unique way of approaching you. Oh, I guess he's got nothing. Of course, your egg is all squished up in a big mess in your pocket, a pile of goo. My sister started crying. That was North Vancouver. They tried to get me to go to North Shore College. They drive me up there and I walked back a mile. And had me in a little suit and tie. And I used my tie to drag an old motor I found all the way down Queens Road to my parents' house. Always trying to get me to go to school. Yeah, I had a lot of fun in Riverview, by the way. A lot of fun times, sexually, that is, with women and some men. The Crease, actually, Riverview is used a lot in the X-Files as well. And Stargate, SG-1, where I was a guest. Some of the film people came down, took me on a tour of the place. We had fun. I got a lot of pictures of us there. So I got those photos too. Then Paul Pincott's place. And Michael McCardle did a number of stories with me. I love Mike. He's a good guy. He's an amazing person. Every night he does last words for CTV News. Check it out. Check out Mike's stories. The story he did on me came in at number 2 one year. And Squirrel and Water Skis came as number 1. So Mike, he's a genius in what he creates, and he's still positive and happy. Good guy, Mike McCardle. Check him out. CTV News. Okay, so so some of the girlfriends I had got unfortunately hooked on drugs. Went downhill at warp 9.999. Very sad, like Marianne Miller. She was hot, and very hot, man. She's kinky too, and that was fun to be kinky. I got pictures of her. I got pictures of all the girls. And there was Scully's, Scully's stunt double, Caroline Aller, who was filling for Scully on X-Files for stunts and that. I got pictures of it as well. I think a video as well. think I sent you a picture of Caroline Allard. Scully stunt double. What other interests I have? I always wind up kid sitting in all the different countries I was in. A kid sit always take care of the kinder, take care of the kids. You know, oh dear. So just make sure they don't hurt themselves or get in trouble. Okay, or animal sitting. When kids sitting in Germany, they get the coloring book out and tell me what animals' names are in Deutschland. I remember Schmetterling, Washbear, and that was at Jania's apartment in Vienna. Yen's sister. Where I lived in, I'm trying to remember the address, 19 Vienna. I lived in Salzburg with Dr. Margarita and family. Jagerbauer weighed 22, Hendorf and Wallersee. And in Munich was 142, Sagersierlandstrasse. House number 12, 9, I forget. And Roland's balcony was right by an Autobahn, and talk about noisy. That was where I first stayed with Yen, at Roland's apartment. And we always go to Wienerwald for dinner. And later on, I think it was a month, I moved off to Dr. Margarita, Dr. Peter Kukosik's. Got my own room. And they were very friendly, caring people. I'd go out in the fields and in the woods around there. Yin was staying there too. She had her room. But when I had the Autobahn accident with Yin, which she only had a broken nose, I had a broken breastbone. I was in St. Polton's Hospital 2 days. Then Dr. Peter Koshadek picked me up, took me back to Hendorf and Wallersee, where I spent a month recuperating under Dr. Margarita's care and medical doctor. She made the world's best bread. I got lots of videos of her too. That's all in it. Not uploaded stuff yet. But we got along fine. She got me cured of arthritis in the hip by a stinging nettle doctor in Munich. So that's why I keep talking about stinging nettles. Come on. Just fix up the hands and everything. But wow, how long have I been talking for now about a curiosity? Geez, it's going to be a long upload. So my leg's getting better. I had an operation. Dr. Bowen, next door neighbor. I got septic arthritis. I was operated on, cleaned. I was in hospital 10 days and still on antibiotics. He was a really friendly doctor. I gave him a big metal sample as a gift, Christmas gift. As well as the dentist guy, who's his friend, and the bread guy locally here is his friend as well. This town is amazingly friendly. Great people. I gotta take some time. Make sure I don't overdo it, you know. The time is 1 hour and 24. Wow, the longest video I ever done. I don't even know what time it is. Oh well, I guess I got time. Today I made a VHF antenna. I always do a lot of things every day. It's on the floor though. Made out of a plastic pipe and other things, and I just take it outside and put it on a post, and it's the wavelength is 19 and quarter long, and the ground length is same length, housed in a plastic pipe along with BNC connector system. So I got, this will be number three antenna. I got a big, huge one, 1,000 feet of wire out in the corner here. It's square design. And I got a long wire one, which is about, I think about 100 feet long. So I can operate UHF, EHF, and VLF. I can broadcast too. I got all these things got transmitters. But, no, not only on Dumulos. We're right back. I gotta actually go to the washroom now, so you gotta take a break too. And thanks for this film you're doing. Getting hoarse too. Hoarse? Me? I'll be right back. Oh, it seems it's getting dark, so we've been talking a long time here, huh? Okay. Well, anyway. Metal samples, I had lots and sold them off on eBay as well as trade. My friend in England, who got me all the Oerlikon cannon parts for scrap price, like the shoulder mounts and the sights, bronze sights, at least 800 kilos. Good friend. I paid him money for it, and I traded him metal samples for it. And another friend of mine traded too. So it's kind of costly shipping back and forth all the time. It's costly. However, I always check things. Sometimes I don't like what happens in effects that happen here. I got a Spencer rifle, Civil War carbine, that's got some weird marks on it. I don't remember those marks. I may be wrong, but it's a Spencer rifle. I uploaded one video on Rumble. Any other things? Yeah, some pieces totally disintegrated. I think I made a video on one of them that's taking apart a radio receiver. Oh, the old stuff. Actually, the surplus I get is it's simply surplus, never used. However, if used, I always check. I check everything: the capacitors, change the capacitors, as well as any other defects. Otherwise, there's no problems. The modern stuff would simply burn up. It doesn't work that well. There's too many filters in it. Oh, that's wire. So anyway, yeah. So, because a lot of stuff doesn't, nobody wants to buy it anymore. So I guess prices keep falling. I'm more into modern things, or something else. Machine tools, I buy those and get good deals on those. Got some good deals from the Canon Superstore on Gunbroker. I had a huge amount of money, and I spent. I go through my. I got guns go back to when I was a kid. With the price tag still on them, I got to open that crate up too. I got so many vintage firearms in mint condition. Wow. Anyway, just wandering off course here, but I'm trying to think of anything else to talk about. So I've always been, ever since I was a child, creative with those pipes and a barrel. Stick those screwed together pipes in a hole in the barrel, and had a fun times with that as a kid. Really tiny too. Then other things I would do is I always like metal things. A lot of the pictures, my sister has all the pictures when I was a kid. I remember tricycles and bicycles. How many people carry a machine gun on a bus? 50 caliber Browning or a Beretta machine gun. Oh, nobody cared in those days. Not that long ago either. They'd look and say, "Oh, he must be in the military or something." Or get a blacktop cab, carry a machine gun to Mrs. Murphy's place in Lynn Valley, or that kind of stuff. Or radio gear. I used to carry some of those heavy radios on my bicycle. I always go to Uncle Pete's or Satellite Electronics on Main. He gave me a lot of bargains, man. But I got the bargains, big bargains for those 5 years I worked on the warships. Can you imagine me standing on a pallet, coming out of the hole or out of the bridge, get up on the pallet with my big radar set, and Joe Crosby lowers me down to the dock. I mean, workers' compensation or whatever would flip out. And I'd be strapping myself in the superstructure with ropes to my tools and the object I was trying to get a hold of. I had myself strapped in. And everything worked out okay. I didn't want to drop a tool. It means I had to crawl all the way down and get it, crawl all the way back up. That was a riot. I was in my shorts in the sun. Woohoo. One time I was put in charge of, this went on a lot. And then my job was taking the two sets of cannons apart. 3-inch 70, 3-inch 50 forward aft on the warships. and one had the mortar bay, which was Columbia, and a lot of fun work. I loved it. I'd go through the storerooms like Christmas time. Holy mackerel! Stuff they breech blocks, radio parts. Some as big as this room, half the big of this room. Take me a week sometimes to go through the parts and get back to work doing my job. And I didn't ask for any money, only stuff I went off the ship, and that was a big deal with West. Great. They were very happy. Joe Crosby, John Koslick, who owned Rivtow, big towing company, gave us a day to have a lot of fun, and Rent gave us a boat to go to Horseshoe Bay in, and we had a lot of fun. And Joe Crosby said, "You take over and don't hit anything." I said, "We're going to go get our lunch," and so he did. Okay, let's see. There goes the sea bus. It's going that way. I could gather that I can probably go this way so I don't cross its path. Under the Lionsgate Bridge all the way to Deep Cove, what Joe took over, of course, when we got our lunch back. It was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun with Joe. He was a fun guy, the foreman. And I guess John Koslick of Rivtow was just wanted to give us a good treat, and it was a great treat, a fun day. One time on HMCS Saskatchewan, they put me in charge of look after the ship. Okay. Because people come and want something and this and that. So I took my clothes off, sat under the 3-inch 70 cannons, or by them. Little did I know, a paddle wheeler ship with tourists came right up. Oh shit. They'd say, "Oh, hi, Captain," and waving, and I just, aye, carry on, I yelled across. And sometimes strippers would come and dance around in certain areas of the ship. Wes Root is up in the bridge walking back and forth. "What are you doing, Wes?" "Oh, somebody's doing stripping." Oh, okay, I'll be right up. That's kind of fun stuff, anyway. I had a lot of fun. I took a lot of videos of the ship and some of the funny things we were doing on it. With Raleigh, who looked after the ship at night, we did a video together, so that's on Nancy's website too. What else should I talk about? It's getting so late. Oh, this is incredible. It is late. I got to really get going here, but enjoy doing this. Enjoy what you can get out of for your film. I must really get going. I'm scared to look at the time. Take care.